In concluding this presentation, first off, before you write me and tell me it's all about the money, don't, because it is. And before you write me and tell me it's about protecting my own self-interest, don't, because I am. What I am doing is what I'm not looking for is sympathy. And what I'm not looking for is charity. What I am looking for is holding folks that are in responsible positions accountable for their actions and inactions. W.S.I.B, in their treatment of me, have had serious financial implications for myself and my family. My problem is I don't think the financial consequences of their actions should be borne by myself or borne by any injured worker. But I do want to hear from everyone. And I do want to hear your comments. I'd like to hear your thoughts, ideas, injured worker, non-injured workers, doctors, healthcare professionals, unions, non-unions, workers within WSIB, and of course anyone in the legal profession. I have set up a separate email for this purpose, and it's RPO, R as in Richard, P as in Patrick, O, 6633 at shaw.ca. It is obvious the Liberal government is back to pulling their switch and bait routine. Rather than to be accountable to a bloated government feasting on revenue meant to protect and support the injured worker, they choose to make the injured worker the enemy in the eyes of the public by using offensive language and calling the injured worker an unfunded liability. A liability. When did WSIB decide that the injured workers that they purport to help became the problem, the liability? And now WSIB is doubling down on the attack, and in the aggressive words of Brenda Abrams, they are vigorously denying benefits to the tune of 50%, which now pits the injured worker against the other injured worker, fighting for scraps of food. Pitting the injured worker against the employers. They bring the injured worker, prop them up at the doors of companies so they can collect the 2% revenue stream, and after they receive their money, they discard the injured worker. And lastly, pitting injured workers against the taxpayers of Ontario. 50% that were denied are ultimately going to be forced to access an already burdened and taxed public health care system. To deny 50% of injured workers, you would have to be the most cantankerous, skeptical person in the entire world to believe that every other injured worker is faking it. In my 30 years of managing stores, whenever an associate complained of an injury, it was usually for a reason. He, she were injured. Now for a bit of more bad news. If you haven't stuck a fork in your eye yet, I'm not sure there is a political party or political will to effect positive change. Certainly the NDP have made the only noise about the negative impact the unfunded liability will have on the injured worker. But are they up to reducing and eliminating excess government bureaucracy? Would like to hear the comments from all political parties regarding this issue. Now I know you can't litigate against someone merely because they are incompetent or inefficient or even a fool. However, someone acts recklessly and with malicious intent. Would that not be actionable in any other part of your life? I did not start the adversarial nature of the relationship with WSIB, but I will ramp it up a few degrees. And certainly I will be testing Brenda Abrams and WSIB on what this vigorously opposes statement looks like. What WSIB needs to hear is that what we are not as injured are what we are not is an unfunded liabilities, but what we are our injured workers, for what it's worth.